Gotcha. All right. What's up, people? Welcome to Mobility Mornings with Stella and Steve. Today, we are going to go over some hip flexion from a squat position to help us avoid or to help us increase our range of motion on a squat before we hit the butt wink. So, what is the butt wink? The butt wink is this: when I'm down in the bottom of my squat and I round my spine, and then this would cause me as I stand up to use my back a lot to curl up. Ideally, we like to get as deep as possible without having that lumbar spine flip over or round or flex. So here is a setup that you can use to practice this. What you're going to need is either a wall or a couch, and we're going to set up in a squat position. All right. So right now I'm in a basic squat position. You can get to this position by making sure that your knees are bent at a little bit more than 90 degrees. As you can see here, this angle is more acute than 90 degrees. All right. And the next important part is to figure out what position your lumbar spine is in. All right. We want it to be in anterior pelvic tilt slightly. What does anterior pelvic tilt mean? It means that our lumbar spine is arched off the floor slightly. All right. Stop licking yourself. And in order to get into anterior pelvic tilt, we're going to practice some pelvic tilts from this position. So I'm going to push my lumbar spine into the floor, and then I'm going to arch my lumbar spine off the floor. Push the lumbar spine into the floor. That's posterior pelvic tilt. Arch the lumbar spine off the floor. Anterior pelvic tilt. Let's push down one more time. That's posterior pelvic tilt. If you're doing this correctly, you'll feel your abs engage and maybe your butt engage a little bit. Anterior pelvic tilt, on the other hand, you should feel your low back engage and your hip flexors engage. So your hip flexors are right in this hip crease right here. All right. So when we are working hip flexion from this squat position, we want to maintain anterior pelvic tilt as much as we can, because if we don't, we will be using our spine, and we want to learn to use our hips. We're going to do a passive range lift off with our hips. So I feel a lot of tightness in the front part of my hip flexors. That means I'm at end range. I'm going to try to activate those hip flexors more and pull the feet 1 centimeter off of the couch. I can't go much further. I'm just holding it there, and I'm going to put it back down. Good. If I did that correctly, what I did not do is push my lumbar spine into the floor. What I did do was squeeze my hip flexors more to pull my knees higher up to my face. Or if I was in an actual squat position on my feet, what that would do is pull me deeper into the squat without rounding of the spine. Let's try it again. We're going to take a deep breath in. Hold it and lift off. Notice my feet only come about 1 centimeter lightly off of that couch because I'm truly at end range. I'm going to hold it there for about 5 more seconds, squeezing those hip flexors, squeezing the core, and relax. So I need to tighten my low back to help me maintain this slight anterior tilt in order to work the hip flexors at end range. All right. So our back should be engaged. Don't get nervous if you feel your back getting tight. That is perfectly normal. Let's try it one more time here. And 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Squeeze, hold it there, squeeze, hold it there, squeeze, hold it there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. We're going to slowly come on out of that position. All right. So what we just did there is we activated our hip flexors from a anterior pelvic tilt position. Theoretically, this is how it should happen when we squat and we sink deep into the hole. We should have a neutral spine, all right, which would look slightly like an anterior pelvic tilt, and our hip flexors doing a lot of the work. Now I want to try to work from the other end, which means we are going to, dropped it. Which means we are going to sit on the couch. Let me change my angle here. I'm gonna go here. All right. So I'm sitting on the couch. I am back into a squat position. So this is only going to work if you have a chair or a couch that you can kind of pull your heels close towards the couch and enter some resemblance of a squat position, hopefully close to the depth that you can hit while maintaining a nice straight spine. All right. So if the chair or couch is too deep, you're immediately going to hunch over. You're going to fall into that butt length. We want to be in that anterior pelvic tilt that we felt while we were lying on the floor. So that means my low back is active, my hip flexors are active, and my spine is elongated. Arms are going to go out in front of me. Now, last time that we did this, our feet rose off the ground. Our feet rose off the couch because we activated our hip flexors to pull them off. If we activate the hip flexors from the other side of the joint, what it would do is it would pull my body into more anterior tilt, and it would pull my chest forward. This is quite different than me rounding forward or flexing the spine. It would pull my whole body forward as one single unit. All right. So lying on the floor, maintaining anterior pelvic tilt, we can pull our feet off the couch. Sitting upright, maintaining anterior pelvic tilt, if we activate those hip flexors, we will glide forward and we will feel our hip flexors activate. Squeeze that there. I'm using my arms to help balance me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back to where you started from. If you have a chair with a back on it, that could be very helpful because how you would set this up is you would get your butt right up against the back of that chair. Your lumbar spine would be curved off of the back of that chair, and your upper back would be touching the back of that chair. And then when you pulled forward into this passive range lift off, your whole spine would come off of the chair. You would never feel your low back push backwards against the back of the chair. Okay? Let's try this again. We sit nice and upright. We feel our hip flexors are tight, kind of holding us in this position. And we try to activate them more by pulling our body as far forward as we can. I feel them squeeze. I'm going to hold it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and I go back. One more time. Let's activate those hip flexors. Pull forward. 10, 9. No rounding. I should see no wrinkling in people's shirts. Nice big chest, nice big belly. 3, 2, 1, and back. Good, nice work. So that is maintaining anterior pelvic tilt, but flexing the hip from a seated position. So it's really a passive range lift off for hip flexion. Same as lying on the floor. It's a passive range lift off for hip flexion. The final thing I want to do today is some tempo squats. All right. And when we do our tempo squats, we're going to think in particular about the hip flexors that we just activated. And we're going to think about them pulling us down into a squat. So our feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. I want you to get to your most comfortable squat stance. If you have never squatted before, I would like you to do a box squat, which means set a chair back behind you so that you're sitting down into a chair. All right. But the intention and focus of this squat is to feel my hip flexors pull me down into the squat. So we're going to take 5 seconds to pull down. And then once we reach the bottom of our squat with a neutral spine, meaning not butt winked, but straight, we're going to hold that position for 5 seconds, and then we're going to stand up. So the tempo squat is a 5-second down, real hard activation of hip flexors, 5-second hold, real hard activation of hip flexors, and then stand up. All right, let's try it. This is the last thing that we got. Begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have reached about my level where I'm able to keep a nice flat spine. I hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I stand back up. That is an intense squat. We got 4 more. Again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. And back up. 3 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. Stand up. 2 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. Stand up. Last one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5. Stand up. Good. So that is a variety of something called eccentric neural grooving, where you're actually using some of the tissue on the eccentric side of the movement to help pull you into that position. All right. So today was just a real big focus on the hip flexors. People forget about them when they're squatting, and it ends up causing you to round your lumbar spine and use the spine a lot to squat. We would like to make the squat a hip dominant movement. So this is one way to start figuring that all out. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you guys on Thursday, same time, same place. Stay safe, stay focused.